Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to 20 Sides to Every Story. Thanks for joining us here. We are playing another session of Dolmenwood using the old school Essentials game system. I'm Alex, I'm the GM, and I am joined here this morning by Winston playing, is it Silver on His Brow?
Upon his brow.
Upon
He's
His
an
Brow.
elf.
Silver upon his brow, elf level 1. Issac playing Friar Fitzpatrick, the Friar. Ryan playing Sir Geoffrey the Knight, and Chris playing Thomas the Minstrel. We're going to be down a Moreen. We're going to be down a Lillibeth here this morning, but we will just have Lillibeth sort of fade into the background. And if there are moments in the game where Lillibeth's expertise is called upon, we could certainly do that. She'll be traveling with the party. So this is your first time checking out 20 Sides to Every Story or listening to this on the podcast, we would invite you to come join us in the Discord. There should be a link to that in the information of the podcast description. Otherwise, you can find it. The link to it is pretty easy. It's just discord.gg/20 Sides to Every Story. Love to have you in our Discord community where we really set the stage for a lot of the games that we run, both on our Twitch channel, on our YouTube channel, and this one that maybe you're listening to. So we recruit from the community for our games. So coming in and getting to know us is probably your best bet if you are interested in playing games with us. We also run a community campaign, which is a 5e game set in the Greyhawk campaign setting that we've been running for probably almost 2 years now, actually, that we've been doing that one. So that one it's an open, probably not quite a West Marches style, but it's a collaborative campaign that has multiple GMs creating content for it at various levels, and probably the best way to just kind of pop in and grab a game when you need it and be able to progress a character throughout. So, yeah, come and join us there on Discord. As for the game here this morning, a little summary, I guess, to catch you up to speed with where we are at. It is currently maybe about 5 p.m. or so on the 6th day of Chisting. The party has come to the caves at Fog Lake. They had grabbed some mining equipment and hired some retainers to come along with them, some workers from the woodcutters encampment to mine some of the crystals, which they were hoping to sell, gain some money from some revenue from that. In doing so, they had mined one particular area right by the entrance pretty heavily and had unearthed a carcass crawler nest. And sort of the movements of those creatures within the rocky walls had caused a collapse of that tunnel, and they were stuck traversing around in the caverns looking for an alternative way out. Sort of by happenstance, while they were doing that, they came upon Marjoram Gryver, who was the prismist that they'd been sent to come find in the Dolmenwood originally. And so I guess a bit of fortune there in a long slew of misfortunes along the way here. But you did very well in conversing with her, and you got her bought into the idea that she should come with you to go back to share what she knows with Madame Shantywood, which would be a boon in the party's favor, as that's what they really were hoping to do. They were hoping not to have to kill her or deal with her in a way that they wouldn't be able to get her cooperation, because Madame Shantywood has their friend captive, Sir Silas. So you've been making your way out of the cavern. The one way that you knew how to possibly get out of here was through the troglodyte caves. And so that is where we kind of left off. You did do a battle. You came into this room, another crystal grotto that has this one has like kind of pale blue crystals that hang from the ceiling. And it would seem that the troglodytes, they have kind of like a makeshift, almost like dinner table going here with a couple of boulders that they moved in and kind of positioned around the room. and they were eating when you came in upon them. You've since slayed the troglodytes, and in the corner of the chamber, there was a hole in the floor that leads down, probably to the second level that you've already explored. You've actually been to the chamber underneath where that hole deposits into. I think that was a chamber with the spring, the warm spring water. But there was a captive dwarf there, or a kind of, I guess, dwarf. He's kind of got kind of a wobbly head, this big, long, floppy nose. Here, I think, give you a picture of what Moss Dwarf would look like. So he's all tied up here. He's bald on the top of his head. He's got kind of orangish flesh. His clothes, or what little that he's wearing, all seems like it's woven from leaves and plants that have been kind of stitched together. His beard has like little mushrooms and spores kind of growing out of that. And you had seen earlier, as you were observing the troglodytes, there was like this one giggling troglodyte that was going over there and actually like picking the mushrooms out of his beard and eating them. And so I don't believe you've untied him or ungagged him yet. He's over there though, and he's kind of wiggling and looking at you expectantly. That maybe you're here to provide a little bit of assistance. And quick shout out here to the Todd. Thank you so much for the subscription. Been around with us for 15 months in a row. So thank you so much. We really appreciate the support. So that's going to be maybe the opening there. Maybe I'll give you guys a chance here to do some character introductions. That's kind of warm up to getting back into the game here after a couple of weeks. So we'll just go around the table and talk a little bit about whatever you want to say about your character, really, at this stage in the story. And so maybe we'll go in reverse order here and start actually with Chris, if you want to tell us a bit about Thomas.
Hello, good morning. My name's Chris. I am playing a minstrel by the name of Thomas Arnhold Penrose Mournspire the Seventh. Tom for short, but he is actually rather large, kind of barrel-chested. It's a minstrel. He has an interest in the dolmen stones around the area. He was obviously, as has been stated previously, that we were captive in the Empire's dungeons, which we set off, but had made to be pretty good friends with Sir Silas. And for the most part, he seems to be pretty handy with his two weapons and his flute. And at the moment, he is interested in this moss dwarf as an oddity, but I think that's probably about it for this morning.
All right, awesome. Next, we'll move over. Ryan, you want to give us a rundown on Sir Geoffrey?
Yeah, I'm playing Sir Geoffrey here. He's a knight. I think lately he's been feeling a little bit ineffective as a knight. He's been wielding this mace, having lost his sword, and so since then he's been, we've been some bad rolls, and I haven't been being very effective in battle, and so he's really feeling the weight of missing this sword, and he's feeling really ineffective as a knight and maybe as a defender. But he got a good hit in, I think, this last kind of combat, and so maybe now his chest is a little bit raised up a little bit more. But I think he's still very concerned with just like the weight of this mace and this other sword that he's acquired. It just doesn't feel right, and he just doesn't feel good about being a defender. It's kind of where his head is at.
Yeah, so maybe earning some of this money. You have heard that there is a master smith out there in Langshorn, and that might be a potential place to recover a sword, but probably don't have a good sense of how much that would cost to get a weapon from this particular person, a mastercraft sword like that.
I
Similar
have a feeling
quality
it would
of.
be expensive though, because it was like rare materials too, right?
Yeah, your sword that was bequeathed to you upon becoming a knight was I think it was called dark steel sword. Something that there's only limited quantities of that ore, and probably only certain smiths that know how to work with it. So could be a pricey item to get another similar quality thing. Awesome. Let's move on over here to Isaac, who's playing Friar Fitzpatrick.
Hello, good morning. I'm Isaac. Friar Fitzpatrick, well, recently, he's always been kind of a rebel against the system of the church itself. Kind of an outlier when it comes to what he thinks about that. But the teachings of the one true God, one of the core foundation teachings is that Fae are not to be trusted. It's just that's as much as it's a sin to lie, it's a sin to trust the Fae. And he currently, just right smack dab in front of him, a Fae had appeared that seems to be a bit trustworthy so far. So he is a bit conflicted and, continuing to trust this this humanoid. I think he might be looking to constantly, like, maybe he might need to constantly check to see if this person actually is as trustworthy. Maybe it might take him a little bit longer to trust this new person that's joining the group. But besides that, that conflict he's having with that is he's really just exhausted trying to keep everyone alive. At this point, he feels the weight of having that power bestowed onto him by the one true God, and he's I don't know. He's it's getting kind of wearing thin on him. Not the fact, just the fact of having that, like, having to carry that weight for the party. He feels it a little bit more, especially after the past few sessions of having so many, being stuck and not really being able to, be able to rest or whatnot. He's definitely feeling the strain, and he feels he's being tested by the one true God. He doesn't know, but either way, he's kind of I'm not gonna say a downward spiral, but he's definitely kind of on the fence of what he's feeling right now.
I think these are all great segues to move over to Winston to explain themselves and tell us a little bit about Silver. You got the Fae thing, you're unconscious, like, what else is
Yeah, I
drawing
got
the
every
Friar's ire?
problem. Also spiraling myself. So yeah, so I'm playing Silver upon his brow. Silver, and to explain a little bit, that is he goes by Silver, he's taken to being called by Silver. He's no problem having the nickname. In fact, his name is actually a nickname. That's the way that the Dolmenwood elves operate. He is a refugee from the realm of Lamprack in the land of Fairy, and has been adventuring for the purpose of trying to discover. He hadn't really got much into this, but he's a poet, and in his current life, he's a poet, and he wants to write an epic poem. And he's been kind of sequestered in the city, and has had an excuse to basically come to the mortal realm for the first time, and he wants to just see something incredibly epic worthy to write into his poem. He is wearing plate mail. It's painted in this Harlequin pattern. He's a very tall, very slender man with long, pale, almost white hair, a handsome face when he's concentrating. Right now, he is unconscious, and so some of the handsome, the ethereal handsomeness is degraded a bit. He's missing 5 teeth, recent injury, and he has little horn nubs that are in the state, his unconscious state, kind of ivory colored, a little bit, little striking, and maybe not the exact stereotypical image of an elf that these people would have, but true to the Dolmenwood fairy and the fae, that they're just a little bit odd, a little unusual, kind of like our little moss dwarf friend here. And he's also grievously injured. He's unconscious, barely alive. I think he's currently stable. He has a quite significant wound to one of his legs. One might say a hobbling wound
Hmm.
that has decreased his agility, which I guess you'll find out as he wakes up, if he wakes up. So, and that is the current state. He's sitting at -1 hit points.
We always feel compelled after Winston shares some of the things that happened to his characters that we do have an EXP store that you could use, and one of the things you could redeem is I guess it's the natural 20 on a death saving throw, which is usually reserved for our 5e games, but I think we're going to dual purpose that for Dolmenwood and say that'll be an automatic successful death save if I ever ask you to save versus death. I think that works. So yeah, check that out. You can contribute things to our games here. I see, hey Gabe, and I think I saw Tux out there as well. Good to have you here. So you're just coming out of combat with these 3 troglodytes. In addition to everything I described right before you did character introductions, you did also have these kind of 3 distinct troglodyte personalities that you were dealing with. There was the giggling, kind of bulging-eyed troglodyte that was eating the mushrooms off the moss dwarf's beard. There was the troglodyte with the golden teeth and the pirate's hat. And there was the troglodyte that was very eagerly guzzling down this some kind of a beverage from a clay pot. Had iridescent scales and maybe seemed a little off in the combat, maybe a little wobbly, almost like they're under the influence of something. And then the other thing you can maybe see on the opposite side of the stones that kind of make up their makeshift. It's disgusting in here. It's filthy. It smells just rank and rancid. The whole table is kind of covered in fish guts and gore. From not just this recent meal that maybe that they were indulging in, but like caked on layers of gore from meals past. And to the south of that, all of that, you can see there's kind of these heaps of pondweed and animal skins just kind of piled up in some kind of a nest. It looks like distinct little places where the troglodytes maybe nest down and bed down whenever they take their rest. So that's what you have. The moss dwarf is kind of scooting a little bit, tied up as he is, kind of rolling over in your direction.
Hey, Alex, before we get into it, it looks like the Todd redeemed it by everyone a reroll.
Oh, awesome. So you guys got
Nice.
we'll make it 5 rerolls, even though there's just 4. They're gonna need it, so it's really not me being generous. It's just I know it won't matter, so
Gee, thanks, DM.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess at this point, Geoffrey would probably untie the moss dwarf and sort of maybe interrogate him a little bit, try to find out what the troglodytes had him for, what who he is, what the situation is.
sure. So you start to untie him, you ungag him. His head kind of bobbles a little bit as you're doing that. And he's got kind of this almost like a little bit phlegmy, kind of gurgly voice, but he says, "Oh, thank goodness you've come, and thank you for untying me.
just want to interrupt real quick and say that this is now the precedent. If any of us creates a monster dwarf, we have to use this voice. So put that in the back of your head, Isaac.
Hey, Alex,
Uh-huh.
I just want to say that while this is going on, there was one other like hallway or whatever that was leaving this place, right? Leaving this room.
Yeah, let's see. Do you all have vision on the party token?
I don't.
The vision that I have is like down below by the water.
Yeah, I'm by the water.
By the water.
Yeah, we're also on.
In-
I mean, I'm on in level 2. Incandescent Grottoes
yeah.
level 2. So I think we were on a different map maybe
Makes
earlier.
sense. Let's see if this works. Is it trying to load a new map for you all? It is
Yeah,
trying.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel like this always runs clunkier because I'm not, for whatever reason, I'm not running this off of my Forge account, so I don't know if that makes it slower.
Aha.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So in the room here, if you've got vision on the party token, it looks like the chamber here goes further to the south, and then there's also a tunnel just to the kind of southeast, I guess, right here that leaves this main chamber.
Okay. Then where I want to be while this is going on is kind of let me see. Move to here and just keep my ears peeled, listening down here while they're talking, just in case anything is coming.
Okay. At the present, you don't hear anything.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Tux just redeemed by a player reroll, so you're up to 6 rerolls.
Wow.
Thanks, Tux.
Yeah.
Anything that anybody else is doing while Geoffrey is untying the moss dwarf?
I'll be going up looking. You were hurt this combat, right? Silver.
Oh yeah, I'm unconscious. So.
Yeah. Okay. He'd be going up to Silver and just looking over his wounds and just kind of shaking his head.
What, do you rub flowers on him? No. How do you heal these guys?
I think Marjoram is probably just hanging back with you, Friar. Probably doing the same, kind of like looking at Silver, and she's just like, well, you said you don't really know him that well.
Well, I no. He's hurt. He put his life on the line multiple times for us already. We need to get him out of here. It looks like he might. He's kind of like snapping at your face and doing stuff that would try to see if you're still alive the way whatever he knows how to do. Well, it seems like he's still with us somehow. Oh, not looking too good though.
So Gabe asks, so if I buy a 20 on death save, will Silver be back up? No, but if you redeem, I'll say if you redeem a healing potion, I'll say that is something that Marjoram has on her person and would be willing to maybe use. So,
when the friar smacks me, one of my teeth falls out.
Oops.
You were once
Dribbles out.
described as beautiful. A very beautiful, 3-toothed, hobbling creature.
Marjoram points to the gold teeth in this troglodyte and says, you could maybe do him a solid and get a background in dentistry. Well, while you're figuring that out, hate to do this, but she goes into her bundle of stuff that she had packed up, and she produces a little vial of kind of a very light red fluid. Then she kneels down and pours that tincture down Silver's throat, and you regain 3 hit points.
Cool. That puts me at 2. So I will be no longer unconscious. Thank you, chat, for that intervention. And I'll wake up and I'm looking at the friar like face to face. He's like smacking me around and like trying to like interact with me. And I'll just be like, oh, just blood just comes out of the mouth. Did we get them? Oh, did we kill the troglodytes?
You're all
Are they
good.
dead?
We're all good.
And I'll just reach up to embrace the friar.
Why are you hugging him for?
Let's get you up. Let's get you up. Good job. He'll help you get up.
And then I guess Marjoram was feeding me the potion, so
Yeah.
I'll just say thank you. Thank you, Marjoram. I had heard tales that you would be or I guess I'd seen your statue and wondered what kind of person you'd be, and I'm glad to see that you're someone who's willing to help the party and help us find our way out of this terrible place. Oh, my leg. Oh, I'll just go down and kind of like rub where like my hamstring's been like severed.
Take a rest if you need to, but maybe not too long. She's takes a glance back at those frogs. Yeah, so while all that is happening, then Geoffrey, you're having your conversation with the moss dwarf, and he's just kind of lavishing praise upon you. He says, "You're such a mighty warrior. I was watching you from over here by the hole, and oh, you're so valiant and strong. Look at you."
All those things are true. We have no time for such pleasantries. As you can see, the tunnels have collapsed. We are trying to get out of here. There's a dragon hot on our tails as well,
Oh.
and we need to know if we can trust you before we bring you into the fold. So,
Oh. I assumed that Wormspittle sent you. You're not from Prigwort? Oh, no matter. It doesn't matter. I'm thankful for the assistance, however it came. Yes, I am at your disposal. And he's kind of like bowing to you a bit. Yes. Let me introduce myself. I am Obolm. I am a servant of Wormspittle, the herbalist. And, well, I came here looking for, I heard there was like an herbalist or somebody selling herbs out here in the caves, and I came here on behalf of my employer to see if they might have a rare plant that my employer was looking for. All I found was troglodytes.
Well, is it possible that one of the troglodytes was the one selling the herbs?
I guess it's possible.
I poked the one with the captain hat, like with my sword. See if he's got herbs on him.
All they did was rob me. They didn't seem like they wanted to do business. And speaking of which one of them has my letter? Oh, I need to get my letter back. And he's like kind of go over there, and like he like rushes forward, but then he looks back at Geoffrey and like kind of like, is it okay if I search them? Kind of demeanor.
Yeah, Geoffrey will do one of these, like go ahead,
And he wobbles over there, his head bobbling the entire time. And And then he gets over there. He just starts like patting them down. Oh, this one's just got a hat. Hey, you want this hat? He's gonna kind of give it towards Silver. Look good on you.
I'll take it politely and just kind of look at it. I mean, it's like moldy and rotted.
It's shit. Yeah, it's just disgusting.
I'll kind of like pat it a few times and see if I can like knock off some of the disgustingness. You know, I'll tell you what. Thank you, Abum. I will hold on to this and cherish it always. I'll put it in my. Actually, I don't have a pack. I'll just kind of like attach it to my belt or something, like loop it into the belt for a second.
And he just is like patting them down. Like they're not really wearing much, so like what he's searching for exactly is a little questionable. But finding nothing, he's like, it's gotta be here somewhere. And then he's gonna start like kind of running over here to like their bedrolls and such, and kind of pilfering through the filth.
Geoffrey will probably just is getting perturbed by all this franticness probably, and is gonna yell to the dwarf to stop. Just stop! What are you searching for? Why are you searching for it? What importance is this to all of us? Look, there's danger abound. We have to get out of there. We do not have time for this.
I have to get my letter. It's very special.
Well, why is it special?
It is a poem that I am working on.
A poem?
A kind of a love poem.
Oh, I can see why it is not important at all now.
It is important. It's important to me.
No, I totally understand. Abum, I myself fancy myself a poet, dabbler for the past 50, 60 years or so. And from one poet to another, I respect your passion.
Thank you.
But I will say this, just, again, some constructive criticism and advice, and take it for what it's worth. I find that often, two things. One, often in the most direst and darkest of times is when I write the best, most real poetry. And also I find that sometimes recreating things that I've written, I often find that it's improved. So might I suggest that you rewrite the poem
I
in
can't.
light of your... Oh, well, okay.
I can't rewrite it. I don't
Like
have
physically, or
yes, I don't have. It's a special ink that I wrote the poem in. I don't have any more of it.
would this be some sort of magical ink? Maybe a
I hope so.
charming sort of ink?
I hope it's sort of charming a bit. I'm gonna. I don't know you guys all that well, but I'm gonna let you in on some spicy details here. I'm gonna present the letter to the Earl of Yellow's daughter. See if she wants to get married, Quite fancy her. But I need to present this letter, this poem, this work of art in the middle of a ring of toadstools. It has to be the silver ink. It has to be on this parchment. It's the only way it'll get to her.
Oh, I see. Okay. So this is sort of a ritual to teleport the poem to her, so to speak?
That's right. Now you get it.
Okay.
So it is important. I need to get it back.
Well, I guess we can maybe take a few moments to help him search. I mean, there's quite a few of us. We have a monkey and two strapping lads who haven't been able to participate much yet. I look over the two woodcutters.
Might I remind us all that you were just healed by Marjoram? We were down. There's a dragon in here, folks. Listen, poetry, smoetry. There's certain death here. We have to get out. So, look, I, I untied the Morse dwarf. I take responsibility for his life. But look, we've got to get out of here. If we're gonna search, let's search and let's get the hell out of here.
Look, well, hold on now. Let's be reasonable. The dragon probably doesn't have it. It's probably the troglodytes that have it. And
Is it possible they dropped it down the hole?
no, I don't think so. I think maybe one of the other troglodytes. There's a few others in here. Sometimes they come in here for meals and such. They really depleted me. Look at my beard. Not looking very healthy.
Your head seems to be bubbling about as well.
Well, yeah. Been doing that all my life. Look, I'm tied into some really important people back in Pregwart. If you help me out, I might be able to make some introductions for you.
Do we know anything about Pregwart?
It's probably been mentioned before. I would say
Like-
probably in you've spent enough time in a couple of taverns at this point that in asking bartenders about such and such a drink, or where does this beverage come from, or you've probably heard the word Pregwart associated with different alcohols you've asked about while in the tavern. And so probably the limited information you have about it is renowned for its brewing and spirits, and it is a village, probably one of the larger villages in Dolmenwood, and it is ruled by a number of families, and each family has a noble line tying it to Castle Brackenwold, and they're all brewers. So
I mean, connections are important, and I have some experience with courtly politics. Having a benefactor on your side is good. Also, I just have to say, my heart goes out for the poor guy. And I'll take the party to the side. I don't think the letter's going to do much for him, but we could humor him and maybe help him, and I don't know. I think it's worth doing. I don't actually. Winston doesn't think it's worth doing. It's pretty very clear.
I mean,
We
I
need to
think
get the hell out of here.
that Geoffrey does. I think upon hearing, upon possible connections or whatever introductions, that is knowing we could probably use some of those connections and ways to make money and stuff is probably piqued his interest. But I don't think Joffrey is inclined to necessarily trust this dwarf very much. He just found him, down here being eaten alive or whatever. He felt like free him, but there's really nothing about anybody that he's met down here, from the Droon to Marjoram to the dwarf, that he really trusts. So he's worried.
Well, what about this? And I'll approach the dwarf again and say, "Listen, Abum, I have to say that even if we find your letter, it's probably been soiled. I mean, look at this cap, that lovely cap you gave me, and I'll point out like the filth on it. I mean, I don't know that this is something you really want transported to her,
well,
but I think there's an alternative. Let me pitch you. What if we deliver the letter for you? I think we may be able to approach the Earl and maybe have the letter hand delivered by someone as courtly as I, and I'm all like glamored up now. Like I've kind of like used my change face to like help with some of the disfigurations that I've undergone in the past 2 hours. Say we could do that for you, and maybe that would suffice. Maybe be better than a mysterious letter appearing.
um, Well, I don't know if I want you going directly to him. That would probably be complicated. But I need the letter. The letter is really, maybe you going and saying something nice about me would work, but I really need the letter to complete the ritual. And I have faith. He looks to the friar. I have faith, Father. The one true God will bless my love. The one true God believes in love.
Really now? You're you're a follower of the faith, are you?
I sure am. I go to church once.
That's fine. You see, we've been in here quite a while, and we're not doing too well. You would understand why we would like to leave as soon as possible.
Oh, good.
Now, you say that there's other troglodytes that might have your letter.
I've said there's like 3 more that I've seen. Although,
Which way did they go?
I think down to the south, maybe? I see them coming and going from those tunnels there. There are 3. One. The one guy, he always looks a little distracted whenever he comes in here. He's got some kind of a cube that he's always playing with. Like, he's always distracted by it. He's always twisting it around and some kind of a puzzle box.
He's gonna summon Pinhead.
Sir Rubik.
Well, you said there's 2 ways, correct?
Yes.
Let me ask you, sir, could you just do me a favor? Could you, on your fingers, just count up how many you have? I just want to see something very quickly.
Count how many troglodytes?
Just count how many fingers you have.
Gee whiz. This is not a trick, is it?
Nope. No trick.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, he
I
can
got this
count,
one
guys.
too.
Then we can maybe trust this information. I was a little worried there for a second because he said 3 troglodytes. I wasn't sure. Maybe there are 3.
3.
He's gonna look to Marjoram. Is that headed south? Is that the way we need to go? Do you know? Are you familiar with this?
Well, I don't know precisely, I suppose, but it stands to reason, and she kind of points back to the river or the stream. That is heading south. That should deposit in the main lake of the grotto. This would be the right direction to go if it is to connect up to the entrance.
Well, your name again was what you said your name was
Obalm.
Olbom. We'll head south. If we come across it, we will probably have to fight those troglodytes anyway. But otherwise, we will do our best to dispatch them, but we won't come back in. Is that fair enough for you?
Okay, so if you see the troglodytes, so fight them.
Yeah, well, if they try to harm us, of course.
Okay. Look.
Can you fight as well, Oblum?
Yeah. I'm a good fighter.
I'll pull out my short sword and hand it to him.
Oh.
Just
Okay.
stand in the front and wave this around.
Stand in the front, huh? Oh, well, fine. You know what? For the letter? Absolutely. Let's go, boys. Let's go this direction.
We have a
I
leader.
think
now.
Geoffrey, with him leading off, Geoffrey will kind of like push him behind him and start leading the party.
He's got
Just
stubby
be
little
like,
legs.
yeah. Geoffrey really feels sort of responsible for this now. You know, having untied him, he could have just left him there, growing mushrooms. So he's just like, oh my god, how did we get into this?
Yeah, you got kind of like the whole circus coming with you, monkey and all, coming out of the caves.
Now, would we
Two
have heard of
woodcutters.
these kinds of dwarves before?
I don't believe you have, unless somebody at some point had mentioned offhandedly moss dwarves. I don't think you've encountered them yet. I would say they're not uncommon amongst the denizens of Dolmenwood. They mix in with society. They're reclusive. They live in their own communities, but they trade with human settlements. So,
And they are mortal, right?
they are mortal. Yeah, he's not a fae or anything like that.
Cool.
Hey, everyday adventurer, thanks for joining us here this morning. So you guys are
So we have-
gonna go ahead.
So we have this passage, and then there's another passage down here.
I think we're going south.
And sorry, we gotta do our kind of housekeeping a bit here. There was a torch that was being used, or a lantern.
Yeah, I had a lantern going at some point. Oh gosh, I was tracking it, and I don't have it on my character sheet anymore. I had 4 oil flasks. I think I'm down to 3. I think we just exhausted it, if I remember correctly.
I believe you're correct. Yep.
So
Sounds good. Another turn passes to
okay.
deal with that whole scene.
And it's like 24 turns, right, for an oil flask. Uh-oh.
That makes
Someone?
sense. I think it was 4 hours, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Okay. I'll just make a little note.
All right. So, you're gonna begin moving south. Sorry, we lost Chris. We'll wait just a second just to see if he pops back on. Was there anything else anybody wanted to do in this chamber before heading south?
I mean, if I was waiting for later to have the conversation, but if Moss Dwarf is there, well, tell me what does your beard do? What do those mushrooms do on your beard? They were eating them. I am a bit. You said you were looking for a herbalist. You work for one. I'm a bit into herbs and other things that maybe, magical effects and whatnot on.
You want to know what my beard does?
Yes.
Well,
And what are you? Also, but first your beard. I don't want to be rude.
I think it kind of causes you to see different colors that don't exist, and kind of go to kind of a faraway place a little bit. Kind of trippy.
Oh.
I don't partake myself, but probably the only thing that kept me alive was that one right there, pointing at the dead troglodyte. He really got a kick out of it.
I'm sure he did. And he's gonna just eye his brother. So get to see if he's giving him a look or not.
Brother, I know you're going to pick the mushrooms when I'm not looking anyway. So if he gives you permission, just take some.
Well, if it doesn't hurt you, maybe I might just to study first-hand effects. Maybe I might ask for one.
I guess it's like the least I could do. And he picks one off. Oh, here you go.
I should have did it. Oh.
It's just like, like shaving probably for you. It's just a little, no big deal.
What are these mushrooms called? Are they just moss beard?
Sure.
Moss beard mushrooms.
Yeah, that, I don't know. Maybe while we're waiting for Chris, I'll look something up here. We'll give it something. So let me look up guide. Table of contents. Fungi.
It's a fun guy.
Yeah.
We will say make a roll to identify. How about that?
Okay. I believe that's a 1 or 2 I can identify. Yeah. 2 and 6 chance. Oh, I got a 1.
Okay. So, this is a fungus known as smottlebread. It's a psychedelic.
Okay.
But it has a secondary effect that is it gives a +2 bonus to saves against magic.
Ooh. The only thing is you have to be tripping balls to.
Correct.
Well.
So, so the penalty on that would be there'd be a -1 penalty to attacks, -2 penalty to missile attacks while under the.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say you asked him what he was.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I don't know if he'd call himself a moss dwarf or not. But I don't have a better word. So he refers to himself as a moss dwarf.
So, so you, all of you are made of herbs and plants? Did you grow from the forest? Did you have a father and mother? I don't mean to be asked these questions. I'm just wondering if you know.
No, you're very inquisitive, and I appreciate that about you. You're lovely, father. I'm happy to answer all your questions. Yes, I have a mother and a father. We come from the forest. We all come from the forest. Do we not?
Oh, well, poetic. You're poet.
I
right?
am,
I
yes.
guess. Well,
We were born in the city, but
yes, but I guess
We come
Before
from the
that-
woods. We were born from the earth, from the wood gods. But now we walk in the one true God's light.
you don't have to do it. It's fine. You don't have to do it. It's okay.
No, I have reverence for the faith.
That's
But
nice.
please, good father, any other questions you have about me or my people?
How about we get out, and then maybe we might. I'm sure everyone might have a few more questions for you.
Yes. Well, off to find my poem. Yes, maybe in the next room.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Oh, we just leave.
So he'll, I don't know, start walking down to the south passage. You're all following in behind. Or anything else you wanted to do in this room? Otherwise, I'll move the token down.
As soon as the Moss Dwarf gets in front of me, I'm gonna very subtly drop the hat.
Okay, sounds good. We'll advance another turn here as you're moving carefully forward.
Huh?
And so you come into this, the next chamber is not altogether that much different than the previous one, except the crystals here, 2 feet long, protruding from the ceiling, are a pale pink. There's again a sandy floor here that is filthy, debris strewn with bones and carcasses of little animals and such. Probably the bones of fish that have been discarded on the floor. And then you can see another boulder, like kind of this central slab table with a bunch of boulders around it. And it's just rotten. It's like worse than the other table. But like the gore and the filth on this table is so bad that there's just like this haze of flies and such and maggots are growing in all the filth on the table. It's like it got so bad that even the troglodytes just like moved on from this table and then, made the second one rather than cleaning it up. And there is a body, a troglodyte corpse that is slumped over on the table, like seated and slumped over, and its flesh is decaying. There's a heavy smell of rot intermixed with the troglodyte filth in here.
I'll cover my face with one of my hands and take out the two-handed sword and just kind of like awkwardly probe it from as far away as possible and like try to lift its head up and say, "Oh, does this look like one of the ones that fought with you, Abum? Is this one with maybe the letter?"
Hey, one down. That's good for us, right? And I think maybe as you like lift the body up maybe just a bit, you can see like some trauma or bruising around the neck, almost like someone had strangled this troglodyte perhaps with like a heavy grasp, because there's just like bruising and discolored flesh around the neck area.
Not so good. To have been murdered.
Marjoram, are you aware of any other maybe larger creatures with big hands?
Larger than a troglodyte, but smaller than a dragon?
Mm-hmm.
I am aware of creatures of all kinds, but none that I know that lair here. I mean, could it be these troglodytes? They can't be all that loyal to one another. You saw the erratic behavior of the others. Perhaps a bit of infighting happened.
I'm not worried if that's the case. More worried if there's something bigger and tougher preying on the troglodytes. But if it's just the infighting, then yes, one down.
Well, and she kind of like pauses. There is a chamber here in the caves, a monument that seems to replicate individuals that pass through the room into figurines. Are you aware of it?
Yes, I think we all passed by.
Yeah, everyone except, even Silver would have prior to you taking over the character. or taking on the character. She would say, there was an ogre among them.
That's right. That's what I was trying to remember.
But she'll look at the troglodyte and she'll give her assessment that it doesn't appear to be an ogre's mitts that would.
Hmm.
Good to know.
Well, further
Was
south. I'm sorry.
this-
Go ahead.
Was this perhaps the one that you saw manipulating that cube? Perhaps they got into a fight amongst themselves over it.
Obolm goes over there and he's looking around and he says, is it wrong to say they kind of all look the same to me? I mean, I don't see the cube anywhere. And this one, it's all kind of mangled. I can't really tell if it's the same one or not.
Well,
I
I
will-
think. Go ahead, Thomas.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm gonna take my sling out and just have that kind of at the ready in case we run across anything.
So the troglodytes have tails, and so I'm gonna say he picks up on this detail. He's like, I don't think it's the same one. The one that had the cube got a tiny tail. This guy's got a big long one. Then he starts just kind of mulling around. He's like looking around the stones and he's pinching his big long nose as he does so, kind of looking around.
If we look at like each of the kind of, if we listen at kind of each of the exits here, do we hear any sounds at any?
Sure. So I'll just go move the token here. From the south here, you can hear rushing water. There's a door over here. An old... door is probably being generous. It looks like it's just kind of like a plank that's been constructed of like old driftwood that it's been bound together by rope, but it's adhered to the wall and seems to be closing up a tunnel here. And you can hear it sounds like arguing or bickering coming from over there. Like some indiscernible voices in that kind of troglodyte language. And that is all. You don't hear anything from this tunnel.
There doesn't seem to be any scrawling on the wall or anything in the language that we had seen before.
No, nothing on the walls other than maybe occasionally there's like a little bit of like filth or something that has been this kind of smeared on the walls, but nothing that's like communicating anything.
Found the troglodytes. Question is, right? We hear rushing water. We know water was where we came in, so it's possible we found an escape. But we've also found the troglodytes, so now we just have to make a decision. Which way to go?
If there's two of them, there's quite a lot of us. They seem to be somewhat craven creatures. Maybe a show of force. We catch them by surprise. They'd surrender. At least give us the letter.
possible.
Assuming we could communicate with them.
True.
That's a big assumption.
Do you happen to speak troglodyte?
I no. We don't need to reason with them. Maybe they're arguing. They're busy. We could just sneak past them and get the letter. I mean, I'll go.
I mean, if it's like sitting on the table or something, but if it's one of their packs or
Here's a question for you. If we leave, will you be coming back by yourself to get this letter?
I gotta get the letter. Can I keep the short sword? Maybe.
you could have the short sword. I just I'm with the friar. I don't think we can let you harm yourself.
All right, let's just go in after the troglodyte.
Hey!
Done with it. What's it? Next captive we find in a tunnel, we are leaving there.
Yeah, you can leave the next one. Come on, let's go. You're so brave.
Understand that we've lost many here already.
One of us twice already.
Well,
So don't be cheering, okay?
This is not a
Come on, let's
party.
go. Let's go.
it
This
got a
isn't
little
party,
awkward there. I'm sorry
yet.
about your friend.
Mushroom soup for dinner. Okay, but
All right. So you're moving up to this door.
I think I like the idea of going in force and surprising them. So I think Geoffrey's gonna like pose that to the crew. Like if we bound in, swords drawn, and mass, maybe they will just, give up. What do you guys think?
I think that's the way to go.
All right.
Geoffrey will be in front.
I think I'll
Do that thing you do. That thing with your face. Extra intimidating, brother. Yes, that look. Ugh, you are disgusting. And
That's a great idea. I'm going to use my glamour to concentrate to give myself just red eyes, just like spooky eyes, and my horns give them a little bit of red tinge to them.
All right. So as you guys are setting this up, I brought all the token. I think all the tokens are in there. But if you want to position yourselves how you'd like to be outside that door,
so
you
many
can do that.
people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the so many people thing. This is where it's gonna get maybe a bit tricky, just because yes, you have a lot of people, but the initial round might be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
And by all means, the Moss Dwarf is happy to charge in there. So if you want him to be right behind Geoffrey, he would, but he'll also defer to like how you guys want him to behave.
I'm going to pat on the back and say, there's nothing more poetic about a lover fighting for his love. So get in there, champ. And I'll pat on his back, push him forward a little.
He's got the sword drawn.
I hope he has more than 2 hit points.
I honestly don't know. I'll have to look that up once it matters.
It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. I like this guy.
Look, I think we've got about 10 hit points between all of us, so we've got this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
All right. So Marjoram is absolutely disinterested in this. Like she thinks she's been like making little side comments like, what the hell? Like who cares? So she's just like back here smoking a cigarette. Waiting for this to
Virginia
play
Slim,
out.
huh?
Yeah.
A Virginia Slim.
Yeah. So okay. So you're Geoffrey, you're gonna open the door. I'll give you the description of what you see, and then we'll make a roll to see if they are surprised. So,
There's gonna be like 7 in there, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Open the door,
Geoffrey's
close
gonna
the
do
door.
his best, police command presence and his. How about you? When they open the door.
so you bust down the door, which is easy to do. It's a pretty shoddily made door. And you look into this natural cavern. The ceiling's here about 8 feet tall, and maybe is among the first chambers in the caves that you've seen that doesn't have crystals in it. Sandy floor in here. There's a rickety cabinet that you see that leans against the east wall, and in front of it there are rows of maybe rows isn't the right word. There's just a heap, a trash heap that looks like it's scraps of leathers, maybe bones. You feel like you see some like maybe snake skin there. It just looks like discarded random things. Not necessarily like filth and refuse like you've seen in the other chambers, but actually like maybe things that the troglodytes have stripped off of victims of theirs, and then the things that they have found uninteresting they've discarded in this heap. And there are 2 troglodytes there that are wrestling with each other and spitting and hissing at each other, biting each other. And so there's 2. One is just like one red eye, and then the other eye is like dangling out of its eye socket, like he's already incurred damage from the other troglodyte. They've been fighting each other so ferociously. And then the other has kind of purple blotches all over their body, like maybe they've been beat up or bruised or hit. And so they're just like tearing into each other as you enter. And so, Geoffrey, why don't you roll me a d6? It won't, and I'm gonna say you can surprise them on a roll of 1 to 3 because they're pretty preoccupied. So Geoffrey, if you want to roll that d6.
Yep. 2.
Okay, so you got them surprised. So there's going to be a free round here for you all. So open it right up with movement, and maybe we'll start with Geoffrey. Any movement you would like to take?
Yeah, Geoffrey's just gonna get right up on this guy and go for it.
All right. Moss Dwarf is going to similarly go 5, 10, 15, 20. He'll move up to there.
I'll
Short sword
move.
drawn.
I'll
Silver's
go
moving up.
5, 10, 15. Oh no. Well, I'll just go there since I can't. I can only go 20, so I can't get close enough.
Oh, perfect. Let's see. Friar, any movement for you?
I'll move up close enough to be able to sling.
Yeah, Troglodyte Fight Club.
I think Isaac's gonna go up there too. Hey, guys, got a poem. There you go.
Thomas movement. All right.
I will move there and attempt to sling.
All right. Let's do ranged attacks then, and we'll start with that one from Thomas.
All right. It's an 18 on the die, so 19.
And which one are you trying to hit?
The furthest one back.
Okay, that's a hit.
What's a sling? D4? Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
1 + 1. So 2.
Points. Okay. I don't know if this is
Actually,
sacrilege, but I'm gonna write right in my
Do you,
book here.
do you get to add 1 for missile? That's just to attack, so it's just 1 point.
Oh, 1 point. Okay. Sounds good. Other ranged attacks?
I'm gonna throw a dagger. I have a dagger,
Sounds good.
and yeah, it's in 10 feet. Hold on, sorry, this is a little. I've never done this before, so this is different. Yeah, so I'll throw one at all poor Bloody Mary. So I am hobbled, so I get a -1 on this attack
Nice.
because of my dexterity. 16. 17 -1.
Sorry, you got to look up troglodytes because they give me hit point values, but not the stats.
Oh.
Yep,
Yeah, so just
that'll
kind of
hit.
like awkwardly heft it. Oh, this bum leg of mine. That's gonna get old fast. And for damage, it's gonna be 1 point.
1 point of damage. Okay. That is Bloody Mary. Cool. Any other ranged attacks?
Yes. 15 to hit.
15 will hit.
All right, we're going after Bloody Mary. Damage. Oof, 4.
Very good.
4 points.
All right. She is still up.
How about Lillibeth? Can we have her shoot?
I'm going to say no, just because that's...
she's like wrangling the monkey.
Yep. Yeah, so if we got a PC missing, they just... We're not going to put them in... Because if I do that, then I have to put them in a combat situation. You could have your PC die when you weren't there. So that's not cool.
That is fair. That's very fair.
So if that's everybody for range, then we'll turn to melee, and let's say we start with Geoffrey.
All right. Yeah, he's gonna attack with his mace here. I rolled a 2, so I probably missed.
Every roll.
You have 5 rerolls.
I'm gonna use it.
Do it.
I'm gonna use it. I'm
Or
gonna use
si-
it. And I'm
6
gonna use a
rerolls.
different. And I'm gonna use a different D20 as well. Okay, so it's a 12 plus 1 is 13.
13 will miss.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Let's
Oh
see.
no.
Hefty troglodytes.
Let's see what this moss... What if this moss dwarf is like OP?
That'd be great.
Like 80 hit points.
Right, I'm getting more dice just in case. I just bought more.
I want to see him like just become like Zorro or something. Like just super like.
Okay, he's not.
Get back.
He's UP.
Yeah. Here we go. Short sword attack. Oh, he hits though. See, short sword. That's a D6, I believe.
I think so, yeah. Hold on,
6 points of damage.
Oh my
Please.
gosh.
So he hits and Bloody Mary is still up, but that wound takes her like you can just see he like kind of awkwardly just kind of like jaunts forward and in the distraction of everything like seems to like cut right through her chest. And then he pulls out the sword and he kind of like side looks over at Geoffrey like, "Did you see that?" Oh, you missed it, huh? Who else do we have in... That's it, I guess, for melee. All right. So that is everything then. So we're going to roll initiative here. Any spell casting or movements out of melee? Otherwise, we roll D6. I guess let's have Geoffrey, you want to be the caller for this one?
Yep, I rolled a 3.
I rolled a 2, so you guys get to go first. So start first here with any movement that anyone wants to make there.
Isaac's going forward.
Silver's going up. Friar and Thomas, find where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Still just gonna.
I'll call the dwarf
another
over and be like, Abum, come on, join me. In the name of love, slay this troglodyte.
Okay, let me kill this guy first.
Oh, damn it.
Hold yours.
I'm on a hot
Dead,
streak here.
dead.
See, ranged attacks to start with Thomas.
That would be 7.
All right, that one will miss. Friar,
13.
13 will miss. I think that's all of our ranged. Let's go to the melee. Let's start with Sir Geoffrey.
Right. It's a miss. I rolled 10 plus 1 is 11.
All right.
Should reroll.
Want to use a reroll?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Then
do
you
it.
get this guy
You
out
got
of here.
5 left, so might as well burn them.
Yes. Okay. So that's a with my +1, it's 20.
All right, that's a hit.
And we get some damage here. It's a d6. I rolled a 6. I believe I get a +1 on my damage as well. Yep.
All right,
Sweet.
swing the sword. Is it a sword or the mace?
This is a mace.
Mace comes forward, cracks the skull of the troglodyte, and goes down. As it falls off of the short sword of Oblum. And he goes, "Hey, you took my kill." Just kidding.
I'll pat him on the head and be like, "That was my kill all along."
I know. And so then he's got no one. But we go to the melee here. We got the. Let's start with Silver.
All right. I'll say I told you to move up. 12. That'll be a miss, but I'll reroll.
Reroll.
5.
Ooh.
My curse dice.
All right, and then can I have the woodcutters take their attacks? I believe it's just a straight roll. I don't think they have a bonus.
Yeah, they have the pretty high strength to get a bonus.
I rolled a 2 for mine. So
Miss and a miss. Okay. Okay. Silver, you moved up there this round, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to think through the process of the stench thing. So Troglodyte's turn happens, and it's going to attack. Random roll. See which one. Of course it is. Of course it is. So it's gonna try to attack Silver.
Spaghetti-o.
All right, D20.
And they have like 3 attacks too.
First attack misses.
I'm sorry, everyone. I just did that.
Second attack misses. And here's the bite. Misses.
Oh,
So it's trying to recoup here after this is a little bit jarring for it. You just killed the thing that it was trying to kill, and now there's a whole horde of you here. So give me a D6 roll for initiative. Any spellcasting or moving out of melee that would happen?
no.
All right, I rolled a 3.
I got a 4.
4. So you guys start. So Silver and the 2 woodcutters, you need to make a saving throw versus poison.
Okay. And we want to roll above that number, right?
Above that number.
Poison is a 13. Oh, that's paralysis. What's poison? 13 still.
Nice.
I failed. What does poison do again?
Poison in this circumstance is going to give you a -2 to hit while in melee with a troglodyte.
And does that like fade away over time, or am I poisoned for like a day or something?
It only applies while you're in melee with this particular troglodyte. So
Got it.
as soon
I'm
as
not
you're
gonna
out of
reroll
melee,
then.
then it goes away.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll not reroll. I'm poisoned.
So let's do movement. Mossdorf.
Did the woodcutters roll?
I think. I guess we don't have maybe Ryan's. I'll just roll.
I'll just roll again.
Oh, you
I'll
roll
just
it. Yeah,
again.
yeah.
I'll roll it again. Here you go.
Okay, so that one will be at -2. So as the movement happens here, I think. Okay. So movement, Ryan. Yeah, he's gonna like offer for you to go first, and then he's like, and he's just like in the background, like trying to find his spot to like get in.
Been a pretty good fighter.
Can I
don't know,
shuffle?
Let him in, maybe.
Yeah.
Can I shuffle, make a space one?
Yeah,
how that works with. Okay.
Yeah, you could do that, and he'll. Oh, there we go. Thanks, buddy. Any ranged attacks that need to happen?
Yes. 17.
Hits.
Damage. Get it out. Here we go. 1 point.
1 point. And then Thomas.
All right, come on. That would be 11.
That one will miss. All right. We'll just go around the horn here, starting with Winston Silver, and then we'll just go around like counterclockwise there.
Cool. All right. So I'm fending off the attacks on this creature, and I'm going to try to chop its head off. And I will miss. I'm going to re-roll because I don't want to die. Is that okay?
Yep.
I'm doing it.
Please do.
Come on.
2 re-rolls left.
Fuck. Missed again.
All right. Woodcutter. Or no, Mossdorf. Here we go. Does it get a plus? If it gets a plus, then it's a hit. It does not. So that'll miss. Woodcutter. Ryan's woodcutter. And your guy's at a -2 because of the stench.
I had a nat 20 on that.
Oh, nat 20 always hits. How
do crits work in OSC? Is it just max damage or something?
That's what I always do. I've been doing that in this game. I'm going to say that's what it is.
I don't know if we've ever gotten a crit.
Yeah.
So max damage for him would be a 4. So 4 points of damage.
Nice. All right. Here we
Then
go.
Issac's woodcutter.
Nice.
That's going to be enough. Woodcutters in tandem both chop forward. Axes cleave right into its chest and it drops backwards.
They've had just about enough of this.
Mm-hmm.
They're the gritty survivors of the woodcutter lot.
They
that
survive
came
the
down
funnel.
Right.
They level up.
Here. Yeah.
They're second level woodcutters.
That's right.
All right.
That's it. They're down.
Your letter.
I'm going to suggest that we drag the bodies out of this room so it's not stinky and then search them.
Dragging the bodies out of the room. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
We're going to advance a turn. So this is a start round here.
That stench is so bad it's affecting us. Like, we can tell it's like nauseating.
I'll pick up my dagger.
Okay. Yeah, the one that you threw, you go and retrieve that. I think Alblom is gonna go running over to the cabinet, and he goes and he opens it up, and then all of these skulls just start pouring out, and kind of like, ah! He's kind of taken aback by that a bit. They are all just troglodyte skulls, is what they look like. Each one seems to have something in a language that none of you understand, likely troglodyte. something painted, writing painted on the forehead of each one.
I will attempt to read it, if I may.
Yeah, how does that work?
Read languages, first level.
Oh, spell. Okay.
No, it's a skill.
Oh,
A minstrel can read non-magical texts in unknown languages, including dead languages and basic codes. If the roll does not succeed, the minstrel may not try to read that particular text again until they reach a higher level of experience. So it's basically non-magical languages. I have a chance to make it out.
Do we remember the skull totem that our friend reached out, touched, and died? Did
mhm.
those skulls have writing on them? Do we?
They did not. All right. So it looks like you have a 40% chance.
Ot 4. So 4%.
All right. So that's the way I do it. Is it's if it's under the 40 or lower, then that's a success. So, basically, it looks like there's names painted on them. Like it's like Sloppy Joe and
Manwich.
Rancid Rory. It's all like
Garbage Pail Kids.
garbage.
Well, garbage
names.
pail kid
I read off a couple of them. I say it looks like these are the skulls of ex-companions of these troglodytes. Perhaps ones that, I mean, do some of them look older than others? I mean, it could be like their whole clan from the last 100 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's quite the collection. So that tracks. Anything that the rest of you were doing at the moment?
I would ask the moss dwarf. Did you find it? Can we go now?
I just need a little bit longer. There's a whole pile of trash over here. We should search that probably, huh?
All right. Where's the trash?
Yeah, I'll help him too. I just kind of pick through the trash.
Okay.
Geoffrey's not going anywhere near that.
So, another turn is going to pass while you're doing this. But, yeah, it's mostly like leathers, rusted old blades, shredded clothes, just raggedy crap that has been stripped off of victims of theirs. But, you do then find, he kind of holds up. At some point, he grabs, as you're searching, like you're filtering through, and there's like the slimy looking leather bag. He's like, there, and he goes and he grabs it, and he reaches up and he pulls it up, and he's like, oh, and you can hear him kind of shake it. Oh, there's like coins jingling and jangling in there. He's like,
Ha ha, this is it.
and he opens it up, and there's like an envelope in there that's unsealed, and you see him kind of wipe his hands off from all the filth that you've been rifling through, and he opens it up and he unfolds this letter. And you can kind of see, if any of you are kind of peeking or kind of looking at it, you can kind of see this shimmer on the script that's on the pages. And his eyes are lit up and he's smiling, beaming as he's like, you can see him kind of mouthing the words to himself. He's kind of lost in his own little world for a second.
Can I read over his shoulder and see what the poem says?
Yeah. He's distracted enough that he won't really notice that you're doing that. And the poem reads, written in Woldish.
Woldish? Okay.
Seasons cry to make me quiet. Your beauty engenders in my heart a riot. Though I be a dwarf and you from fairy, I'd love nothing more than for you to marry. Our union would be for me number 3, and our love would branch out like limbs on a tree.
It's beautiful.
Wait, number 3. I'm muttering that to myself.
Uh-huh.
Number 3.
It's like maybe leave out your first 2 wives.
Oh, I'm wondering if they're first, if they're current. Yeah.
It definitely rhymes.
True. Maybe that was the reason.
And he folds it up and he's like,
All right, I'm good to go.
Alex, do we have any suspicions that there's like some kind of like, because my worry is that he's gonna like manipulate this poor woman into falling in love with him with like a magical spell. Is there any like vibe we're getting off of that, or is it just he really just wants this letter to be teleported to her?
I
Or-
don't know what kind of vibe you get. Like, he's just weird and alien a bit. So,
He's a weirdo, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I tried.
so while all this is happening, Friar, you were helping with the searching?
Yeah. As soon as that happens, though, he's kind of ushering people. Time to go.
Thomas, what were you up to during
Oh, yeah.
that period of time?
I was just looking at some of the skulls
Okay.
and, putting to memory some of the names and stuff, and I guess the script in case I ever run across it in the future.
You're a bit solitary maybe from the rest of them. So there's maybe a little bit of commotion and bickering and I don't know, shorthand kind of happening with them. You're out by yourself by the cabinet, and you can hear there's definitely like a noise coming from over here. It's very subtle, very quiet, but it almost like feel like you hear kind of like a mechanical clicking and maybe some like mumbling.
So it seems like it's coming from the back of the cabinet.
Sorry, from the north here. From around the bend, you can't see.
Oh, gotcha.
But there's like a tunnel that kind of bends to the north there.
All right. I state to everybody, I say, I think we got company coming from the north. Look lively.
Is our poison gone if the troglodyte is deceased, or is just being in this room enough?
Yeah, as soon as you move those bodies out, it's still stinky in here, but it's not overpowering you.
Got it. All right, yeah, I'll pull out my sword.
And as you all are like kind of readying yourself here, let's see. Oh no. Nothing comes forth, but you all are hearing it. You get silent. You're all readied, and you just hear like once in a while like a click. Click. No.
Does it sound like a troglodyte talking?
It sounds like a troglodyte talking, but
Trying to play with the puzzle box.
Do we
You would
rush in
probably
there,
even
guys?
say
Do we
that.
rush on in?
Well, how much do you like puzzles?
How much do I like puzzles?
Mm-hmm.
I am not very good at puzzles. My brother may be better.
Yes, I enjoy puzzles,
Enough to kill.
but no.
A properly made puzzle box is an expensive item.
Uh-huh.
Look, I am
Well,
inclined
just
for
saying,
us all to
could be
just
worth
get
something.
out of here, but I have a feeling that this troglodyte will not be happy we killed all his friends. So
I think I'm inclined to agree, Sir Geoffrey. I don't see the value in slaying this poor creature, I think we should just go.
Oh.
Unless you were going a different direction.
That's
I am inclined to leave. I'm also inclined to believe that he may follow. So I am good with
Ah.
either decision, but we must make it quickly. Either we pounce while the moment is right and he does not know that we are here, or we get out while he does not realize we are here. But the moment he knows we are here, we just have to kill him.
Well, they have no
Feel
love for
killer.
each other.
I
They've
say
been killing
pounce.
each other.
We may at some point come back here and it'll just be an enemy that we've got to deal with in the future.
Yep. Let's go then.
You know, for mortals, you don't seem to have much respect for your fleeting lives.
Oh,
That's why
we
you're-
need to go.
That is why you are up front.
Obelm like gives you back the shorts.
I don't think I need this anymore.
I'll take it and maybe like inspect the handle for like moss or mushrooms and put it back. So yeah, I'm down. Like as a player, I'm down to kill this guy. I just up to
I
you.
think
all.
as a player, I'm totally down to kill this guy. But as a character, I think Geoffrey is like at the end of his rope. As far as
Yeah,
his patience, and he wants to leave.
yeah. I think we should leave.
you would see the friar like shocked at the fact that people actually want to leave, and it seems like this entire time we've always just gone further in. So he's like, "All right, let's go then. Good, finally, please, let's go."
All right, so the plan is to leave.
If we can, Joffrey's gonna
Yeah.
keep. Joffrey's gonna kind of like tell his brother lead the way out. Joffrey's gonna keep the back covered, kind of walking backwards with his mace out and shield, kind of watching to see if the troglodyte hears us or follows us out.
Okay. As soon as you all start exiting the chamber. You don't get any sense that he's following you. So,
I'm gonna suggest that we try to see if this tunnel leads the way out.
okay. So you start to make your way out of the south tunnel there, and fresh air is coming at you from the passageway, and you look out. It's summertime, so there's probably still sunlight. It's nearly 6 p.m. at this point, but there's still sunlight that is coming down. It's a beautiful sight. There's sort of a rainbow kind of feel coming off the falls that deposit into the pool there. All the monkeys are hanging out on the cliffs, kind of looking down, and Abu waves up at them, and they go, ooh, 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 down at him. And a little bit of a monkey reunion there as you're coming out. You will have to swim across if you want to get to the stair that leads out of the grotto, but it is a welcome sight to now see the exit.
Mm-hmm.
What's the situation for swimming in heavy armor, especially plate?
It's a bit of a struggle, but it's with all of you here, even if you were floundering or whatnot, like there's no real threat to you, so you're gonna be able to make it over there, no problem.
Got it.
So is it the group's decision here to exit the grottos? You're going to be basically at the end of your adventuring day. You could probably, if you want to put some distance between yourselves and the grotto, you can. But ultimately, you're not leaving the hex tonight. You're going to have to go and make camp, probably dry out your clothes and things after being in the water and being in that stinky troglodyte cave. But
when we get out, all our car, all our equipment, everything is on.
Yeah, there's no bandits or anything that happened upon it in the short
That's-
amount of time. You really weren't in the caves all too bad. You know,
Felt like
been in the majority of the day, but it hasn't been sitting there, and there's not enough traffic to this area that anybody came upon it. So you're all good there. All your stuff is still there. But yeah, I think this is probably a good time we could take like a 5-10 minute break. We maybe play for another hour or so after that.
Sounds good.
Just to kind of tie up. We'll do camp tonight. We could have a wandering encounter or something that happens. We'll see. Then we'll have the travel back. Probably your destination is to head back to the woodcutters camp tonight, or on the next day. So we'll do that. Yeah, we'll just kind of, it's going to be probably a lot of housekeeping, just kind of putting the pieces in motion as to where the campaign goes next. And that's what we'll be doing. So, thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Give us just a few minutes to refresh coffee cups and take a bio break and such, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us here this morning for Dolmenwood. We have just exited the caves at Fog Lake, and the characters are basically going to move into rest procedure, setting up your camp. And then we're going to kind of see. I think you're going to head back to the woodcutters camp, probably settle up maybe a few things there, and we're probably just going to summarize a lot of the pieces here going forward, just to kind of see what direction we're going to take for our next session. So it'll be very much establishment. But why don't we start things off with the camp procedure as you were coming out? It is evening time. So just to kind of review the tasks that we need to have taken care of here are we need to fetch firewood and build the fire. We need to fetch water, cooking, and then a possible camaraderie check, possibly from Thomas or whoever could do it. But
I think normally me and Moreen go searching for wood together.
okay, and you also have the woodcutters. You can put them to work doing some things as well.
Collecting firewood makes sense.
Yeah.
So-
Tends to be
Make
what she does
firewood.
normally, anyways.
Who would like
Yeah.
to do the fetching of water? You only need to have one person doing that.
I'll take it.
All right. Friar usually handles the cooking. And so
Double rations for everybody tonight.
I think Marjoram will probably stick close to the Friar, like kind of setting up the camp. Obolm, he's taken a liking, I think, to the Friar. Both the brothers, I guess. I think he'll stick close to the camp too. Just talking to the Friar about herbs and making some small talk like that. So we'll have Ryan, if you want to roll a d6 for yourself, I'll roll 3d6 for the two woodcutters and Moreen's character. We'll have her on this too. So I have 14. So in total, you're gonna have plenty of firewood for tonight, and then you can mark down that you got 8 days, or 8 hours of extra surplus for the next time. Water is always successful. Weather conditions is easy enough here tonight to build a fire. Let's do the roll for the cooking.
Okay. I forget, is that a wisdom or a con?
It is I believe it's a wisdom check. Yes. Rolling under
That's
wisdom.
good. Yeah, I pass. So he would have, I think the Friar. How are we doing on rations?
So we have in the cart, we have 12 iron rations in total.
Okay.
I've got 6 standard.
All right.
A bottle of wine.
think he would. I think the friar would recommend we use those standard rations and keep those. Try to keep the iron rations. And he would say that he would like give you what you give. He'll give a little bit of his to you so that you would have iron ones instead. So if it was okay with you, he'd probably take those standard rations
Yeah.
off your hands right off the bat.
So all 6?
Yeah. How many do we have in the party right now? 1, 2.
5 plus 4, I think. Well, actually, is the Moss guy coming with us?
For tonight, he'd probably tell you his plan is to go to Prigwort, so you're gonna go in opposite directions, and probably tomorrow you'll split. But
Okay.
he would tell you if
either way.
yeah, if you're ever in Prigwort, go look him up. But yeah, for tonight they
Alright.
need to be fed. So
All right. So 6 and I have 8, so I'll just take them from me. We'll have 5. Okay. So we have enough then. He would have possible. He would have probably grabbed a few of those bubble weeds, the little kind of seaweed-ish thing that was on the ground while he was going through. He would ask if there were the moss dwarf, if there were any like nice like tasting herbs on the ground or wherever. He knows about like pepper grass and lemongrass and that stuff like that. But he would I guess he would make a stew, just something hearty, stick to the bones. Maybe there would be like some, I don't know, we'd say like pork or something. Maybe like a pork stew with like creamy mushroom sauce, peppery with like a hint of like, we'll say like basil thrown on top.
sounds good. This is definitely comfort for the soul after everything that has transpired, right? Like just the shock and horror of being trapped down there in that dark place, losing Waymond, just the eeriness of the shrines that you saw, the fact that the Droon might be poking about yet with his undead. Apparently there's a dragon on the prowl. You probably worry a bit that maybe it would emerge maybe from the caves, and keeping an errant eye out for that. There's just so many reasons why you're probably looking forward to putting some distance between yourself and this place, but the stew and this time around the campfire is welcome.
I think he would, though, with that mushroom he would wait for his brother to come back into camp. And like as soon as he comes, he would bring out that mushroom and like pretend he didn't see him. And he would like pretend like he was putting it in the stew as well, just to mess with his brother a bit.
Oh, brother. It's not going to be that kind of night, not after this day.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. He put it away.
And any kind of camaraderie or some storytelling or song from Thomas?
All of the above. Thomas will break out his bottle of, I think it's called Inkling wine that he had, and to share with everybody, and kind of kick off. I don't want to say celebratory, but telling, have everybody tell a bit of a story about, for us, Waymond, for the woodcutters, them, and just kind of get the ball rolling on kind of a solemn yet celebration of life type thing, tell a good story about the person in remembrance, and with a glass of wine for everybody after the after the dinner, and
Okay.
then finish with a song too. So
Awesome. So night is very peaceful. It's you're all sweating a bit. It's probably like upper 80s, almost 90-degree weather. So it's after being in the coolness of the caves, you're all, you know, taking back the fresh water that Silver has procured pretty rapidly. Is there any conversation or things that you want to take care of here around the campfire tonight?
We certainly have business we need to attend to. We have in our cart quite a number of crystals. We have options for what to do with them. Um, that we can take care of on the way to go with Marjoram to Lady Shantywood. And then there's even discussion of after that, what do we do? What after what we have learned? I don't know that I'm in a rush to bring Marjoram back to. We are already free out here, and to make our way. So I don't know that we would be necessarily following through with our mission, and I think that that's kind of the elephant in the room, is it not?
Well, and I'll just kind of pipe up. Like I've been thinking as well. I first of all, cheers to you. Thank you for, and I'll take a glass of Thomas's wine, and just drain it. Thank you for really helping me escape. I too lost a companion as I spoke. She perished in the dungeon, and I have honestly been fleeing my home, uh, sort of as a jumping off for adventure and seeing what I can learn and really get inspired to write something truly meaningful. But I'm a bit lost. I have no direction, and with this leg like it is, I'm in no shape to adventure alone. So I can't help you know where to go. But if you would not mind, I would like to tag along. You seem to attract adventure and interesting stories. I'm hoping that maybe I can be witness to one of them, even if I'm not a participant. Uh, I will say, if it's of any concern to you, that dark things have been invading the land of fairy. There's a being there by the name of the Nag Lord. He has been corrupting things. So I have to say that I had thought hopefully maybe to learn a little bit more about how the mortals have addressed him, but maybe there's something for us to be thinking about. Could be a great quest to slay the Nag Lord. I would make a great poem.
well, it seems the corruption from the Nag Lord in the land of fairy has spilled over into ours, as we had about a week back ran into apparently a minion of his. It was a beast that had the head of a unicorn and the body of a man. I do not know if you know what that creature may have been, but we slew it, but it does not bode well.
Well, the Nag Lord himself is sort of a cruel mutilation of a unicorn in his most common form, anyways. We call him Atenue, nine legs. Partly because he has nine legs, but he's a nasty new entity in the fairy. And of course, just for context, new for an elf is not new. So you may want, like, maybe in conversation we figure out this has been like 400 years that he's been causing problems. But anyways, I'll say so. I mean, if you're saying a unicorn man, that seems to track with the theme. Did you happen to see any? Was there any connection to uh, diseases or pestilence?
Yes, it was residing in a town. Chris is forgetting the town's name.
Greg.
Dreg. In the kind of like the smokehouse, and it apparently was corrupting the meat. And the town was kind of, it was more of being affected by a disease of the mind as opposed to disease of the body. People were becoming angry and violent and kind of not themselves.
That sounds very, very likely related. I'll be honest, the corruption that he sowed in my realm was quite destructive. I will be honest, I fled out of fear originally, but I took it as an opportunity to finally shake myself out of my funk. I'd been staying in the city for over 50 years and not making any progress, kind of wasting away. So I took it as a sign to get on the road to explore. But if the Naglord has made his way all the way to the mortal realm, mortal world, maybe it's something. Maybe the real sign is that we will do something about it. I should say too, Thomas. I haven't paid close of attention. Have you mentioned dolmen stones in front of my character at all?
Probably not yet.
Okay. Just want to make sure because I may have missed a chance to explain some stuff. But
I don't know if I'm going to get into granular detail with this, but you would Marjoram Griver would be active in this conversation and like asking you questions that probably you don't know the answers to, but like she's just exhibiting that she's very curious about.
got it.
Yes, one thing that I'm curious about, is it fine to refer to you as just Silver, or
Sure.
you prefer?
No. It's a silly tradition with the elves. We don't like to use our real names. So Silver upon his brow is we all kind of it's a joke, I guess. We go by kind of insults, epithets. Means that I have a hideous visage. Silver is a bit detestable to my people. It makes us sick to the stomach. So we take it in kind. It's kind of a thing, like so you have nicknames for each other, but you can call me Silver, no problem. I understand the awkwardness it is.
Like,
Well,
could we just call you Sil or Silver? Is that good enough?
Yes, I mean, sure. You may call me whatever you would like, as long as I understand what you're saying. I have no particularities about it.
So then what's your real name?
Well, pardon me. It's maybe the traditionalist coming out from my raising, but we don't like to share our fairy name, even very rarely with each other and close friends, but especially you would understand.
Right? Tradition? Mm-hmm.
when was the last time that you were in your land? Is it possible that the Naglord has reached into the mortal realm, as you call it, because it has taken a stronger foothold in yours from when you left?
And I realize I have messed that up. It's the other way around. That the Naglord's from the mortal realm, I think, right, Alex?
Nobody knows its origins as far
Cool.
as you know.
I'm going to go with my misunderstanding then, because one thing about I've never been to the mortal realm and I don't know anything about it. I've been kind of
Yeah.
Like I'm a young elf, so I may be giving you slight misinformation just so y'all know. But I'll say, well,
I'm sure if you went to any sage or something on either side, like they always assume it just appeared one day, so it must be from the other place, right?
right. I'll say, well, like I said, we don't, we tended to. The Naglord is kind of a, a boogeyman to a degree. We'll scare our children with them. Uh, Not really something that we really see as much of a problem. Uh, and like I said, we just sort of ignored him, but he, very recent times, the past several hundred years, he's really made an impact and started to kind of uh, be more active, I guess I should say. And my city of Harkhold, it was destroyed by harpies and ogres and all manner of shadowy creatures, and clearly minions of the Naglord. Um, so if you have been experiencing things along those lines, you must be interacting with him as well.
How did you come? I mean, how does one come from the land of fairy into the mortal realm?
Well, I took a ferry road. It was called the White Way. Fortunately, it's a one-way journey, but we had to flee, and I figured what better place to go to explore and maybe even learn more about the Naglord coming to the mortal realm.
Do you know how to get back?
I can't go through the White Way, that's for sure, but it is possible to return. From what I understand, but I'll be honest, it's my first time leaving the ferry. Never done it, but I believe it is just a matter of finding the right road.
Um, Album will probably chime in at some point. He would say,
Um, closer to where I'm from, there is a gate that leads to the land of fairy. The lands
really?
of, yes, the Yellow Duke.
Yellow Duke?
Hold on, I'm probably saying that wrong. The Earl of Yellow. Sorry.
Earl of Yellow.
Heard that before.
Yeah, the father of my sweetie.
Yes, there we go.
Oh, I see. So your letter is. Are you trying to propose to an elf?
No. Kind of got a little bit of a goat thing going on.
Goat folk.
Yeah.
Right.
Cloven hooves. Heesh.
Are
you
there
fair?
satires in Dolmenwood, Alex? Or is it just definitely goat folk?
We'll
we're just
say,
talking about?
we'll say because you are a fairy that you've heard of the Earl of Yellow. The Earl of Yellow is satyr-like in
Satyr.
appearance.
Got it. Interesting. Well,
Are you fairy as well, then?
No.
Oblum?
No. I'm from here. Us Moss dwarves, we our origins are in the Dolmenwood, but we have dealings with fairy.
well, I can wish you luck. I will say that the Fae are mercurial folk. Mortals are a curiosity to some of us. Some of us take a special interest in them, but often that interest is maybe not might not be to your benefit or your liking. I don't know much about this Earl of Yellow, but I've heard of him, and Uh, anyways, just be careful. That's all I'll say.
Marjorie. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say to Silver. You say that you're a relatively young elf. Just curious, considering that you're the first one I've ever met. Can you tell the age of an elf by the shortness of their or length of their horns? Will your horns grow?
Oh, interesting. Doesn't quite work like that. The elves are my people. Not all of us have horns. Some of us have um, unusual features that stand us out. Some of us have long, pointy ears. Some of our ears are shorter. Some of us don't even have pointy ears. It's just kind of there's a lot of variety. I suppose you maybe don't know much about elves, right?
Very, very little.
So my horns are not unheard of, but definitely not a common element. And the fact that they're naturally ivory is actually part of the part of where my name comes from. It's not an attractive feature, but yes, there's some of us are. I've known elves that were barely visible; they're so ethereal, and some that are almost they almost shine like the sun or the moon. It just depends. It's not as we're not like the. I mean, well, I look at the moss dwarf. I guess, well, you know what I mean. I mean, look at him and look at you. There's some variety. I mean, he's like got mushrooms growing out of his face.
Yes. Which I will say is something that's quite odd, and I've never experienced that either.
Mm-hmm.
Marjoram is just pensively like looking into the fire. You've all drifted off the topic, but at some point when there's like kind of a lull in the conversation, she'll bring back up the topic of the Nag Lord, and she'll say, "Oh, would it be that I was younger and had access to all my resources? This would be a topic rich research. Sounds even like a topic that runs deep in threatening our world. Something of perhaps urgency." And she's like, she pulls out that crystal, the opaque, dark crystal, that you've since learned apparently contains her husband. And she says, she's just kind of like almost talking into it, like, it's probably not our quest to take on, but she looks to you all and she says, if you were to look into this further, I have a colleague at Castle Brackenwold that you could, should you curiosities be that you would wish to learn more about the Nag Lord and see what the people here know about him, perhaps you could look him up. He is a professor at the college, the Royal Institute there. Professor Edwin Wogglemane. I'm not sure where your fates are taking you, but should you find yourself, you've been good to me. I trust that you're not leading me astray and dealing with this Madame Shantywood, and so if you were to mention my name to him, preferably when there is no one else in the room, you may be able to get his cooperation, whether it be in dealing with this Nag Lord or other such questions that you might have. He has been here for decades. I wouldn't trust him. He's a scheming old bastard himself, but we've got history. We called each other friends at one time.
Where did you say that Professor Edward reside?
At Castle Brackenwold.
Okay.
Well, I don't mean to immediately cash in a favor upon doing a good deed, but I have to say, Oblum, uh, you have a connection. You said you'd introduce us to one of the families that maybe has a connection to Brackenwold. Um, do you mind doing that? Introducing us?
This is to who? The Moss Dwarf?
Oblum. Yeah. Is it Oblum or
Oblum.
Oblum or
Oblum.
Okay.
Oblum.
Cool. Yeah, because he had said that he had like a family connection. He had a connection to one of the families, like a royal family that could connect us with.
That's the Earl of Yellow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
s-
was it the Earl
well,
of Yellow?
no. So he lives in Prigwort.
Yeah, in Prigward, that's what it was.
So the whole thing with the Earl of Yellow, you're getting the sense he's got a fantasy, like that's a whole side thing. Like he's got this fantasy with his daughter, and
Yeah,
kind of like you said earlier, like is this going to pan out? Is what he's trying to do even like a real thing?
right.
But it does seem that he's got credibility in the fact that he works for an herbalist in Prigwort, and so what he'll tell you is he doesn't have a direct connection to the royal families, but he has a connection to his employer, who supplies a lot of them with their hops and all their materials that they need for brewing and their yeasts and
Right.
things like that. So he would be happy to, if you come to Prigor, you go with him, he'll take you to the shop essentially where they operate out of, and that can be your hook into meeting these families.
Got it.
What was the
Okay,
name of the
great.
shop?
The person that he works for is named Wormspittle.
Warmspittle.
Wormspittle the herbalist.
And that's Worm Wyrm.
So, and I'll just chime in. Like, in a past life, I was a member of the court of the prince who was 7. A very complicated system. And we'll talk about it someday. Another campfire. Maybe when I bring out my bottle of wine. But all I'll say is courtly intrigue, something I'm comfortable with. And I will say that it always is who you know and who's your reference. So if we climb the chain correctly, I feel pretty comfortable we could get in, so to speak.
Into Castle Brackenwald.
Yes, but I really mean more the social circle. But yes, literally, physically as well. We just have to play our cards right, do some negotiation. We have our very talented minstrel friend here, who I'm sure can do some charming introductions. But I think it's possible.
So, just a little extra context about Castle Brackenwald. It also has a village. Like there is the physical castle, but there's a little village that resides around it as
okay.
well. So it's, if you go there, there is a place that you can go that's like open to the public, and then from there you
Gotcha.
probably have to do like you're saying, get an audience to get closer to the Duke, perhaps.
And was
Got
that
it.
the same castle that had all the overgrowth of the stuff that we got that
Different.
bowl
No,
from?
different.
Okay.
Yep. That would belong to a noble house that's like directly under the Duke, that controls the region that you initially came in through the river down there.
That reminds me too. So I'll look at Geoffrey and just say, Sir Geoffrey. First of all, thank you for standing on the line with me and keeping me alive as long as we made it out. Thank you very much. But I noticed you don't seem to take well to that hefty bludgeoning item you have, that mace. Are you seem dissatisfied with it? Are you in the outlook for a better weapon? Something
Yes,
more knightly and suiting to you?
absolutely. I've heard of rumors in Lankshorn. There's a smithy that may be able to work with the types of materials to replace my sword, but I have no idea the type of cost that incur, and I imagine some sort of adventuring would probably be needed before I could place my sword.
I have to say, maybe it's me being a bit of a romantic or somewhat selfish desire, but it makes a great chapter in an epic poem for the knight to forge his powerful weapon to slay the demon, right? So I think we should take a little sojourn to acquire a truly epic weapon for you.
I mean, you're not going to get an argument out of me about that. That is for sure. But I do think we have some. Before we decide what to do next, we've got to decide what to do next in terms of our the crystals making families whole, you know, and delivering marjoram to Lady Shantyhood and freeing Sir Silas, right? I think we've decided we are not going back to the kingdom. We are staying here in Dolmenwood. And I'm certainly after we free Sir Silas, I am eager to see what the you know, to acquire a blade, for sure. Or at least pass through and see what it would require to do so. Because I doubt that we will have the funds to have said blade made currently, especially after making these families whole.
Fair.
So let's I think, are we at a point where we can dissect and delve into some of these questions and just see consensus what you want to do? So who do you want to sell the crystals to? You got two potential buyers.
So we have the guy who's somebody who's going to sell it to the guy who's smoking them, right? Is that the idea? And then we also have the family that we
the two sorcerers
bumped into.
Yeah, the brother sister that
Why don't we figure this out first? Because why don't we figure out how many crystals we have to sell to begin with? Because we have 496 that we have shares that we've got to dole out, and then we've got 128 that we acquired before we had to do shares. So I think depending, Geoffrey would probably recommend that we do business with both to just have business associates if we have enough crystals to do so.
That's really smart.
I would agree with that.
Diversify your client base.
Well, just and have contacts, have reach within the
Yeah, totally.
So you've got the 496 from this current run, and then whatever you said, that you have from previous.
Yeah, 128.
Now, how would that work? Like, where would you be going initially right now?
Well, I think we have to, we have shares out of this 496. So we've got to figure out what those shares are, and we have to figure out who we owe those shares to. We obviously have the two woodcutters that are with us that we would give their shares and set free, right? Then we'd have to say, okay, is a death share the same as a full share? and then we've got to dole out those death shares.
So just to kind of simplify this a bit, they are sort of relying on you to sell these. So they're not taking their crystals and going. They're hoping that you guys are the ones that have the connections, and that's how you hired them on. So they're waiting for you to make the sale, and then basically these woodcutters, these two remaining woodcutters, grizzled as they may be at this point, then they would tell you this over the campfire, and they'd probably look to you, Geoffrey, to say, you say that you are a knight and that you have honor. We're going back home. We're going to put our dead to rest. We've been with you, and we've seen how you act, and we trust you. So they're putting faith that you will return. They're going to put all their faith in you that you're going to handle the business side of it and return back with their coins. So you don't necessarily have to deal with that question right now of we can do that at some point in between games. But
okay.
But that's what they're going to do. So then it kind of leaves it into your hands, what
do we do?
How you handle that. But
okay.
I
And
mean,
How many-
the easiest,
How
like
many
logistically, the
cutters
easiest
came
way
with
would.
us originally? Just curious. It was like 6, right?
there were
Five.
5
2
of them
left.
original.
There's 5. Okay.
So they're going to count as 2.5 people in terms of divvying this up.
Logistically, the easiest way to do it would just be if we gain anything from pretty much the drug dealer, we'd probably just give that money to the woodcutter's family since we're still in the area, and
Yep.
then we'd collect most of our share back at the brother and sister's place.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking is we've got 624 total crystals. I'm thinking we offer 312 to each party,
Mhm.
selling party.
That'd be fine.
Okay. I'm just going to put this out there. This would be a way. It depends. Do you want to go and deal with Jolly Oasis Pollard directly, or we'll say that you can give the woodcutters their share of the crystals, like you're saying, and they'll sell that to the intermediary, the guy that was manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll alleviate you of complications, unless you want, the complications can be fun. So I'll kind of pass it to you gameplay wise. I would say, going up to the manor and dealing with him, yeah, it's going to get complicated, and you're going to have story stuff that happens as a result. But you can give them the crystals, and they will sell directly to the manufacturer with, the knowledge that you guys were responsible for organizing that if you want future dealings with them. So that way we can kind of bypass getting bogged down with that, but like leave that story open if you want to return to it later. I just think you've got so much on your agenda right now that we don't have to over complicate it with that if you don't want to dig into that piece.
If we don't want to, yeah. So we would give them their shares, the 2.5 shares of people. So we out of being 5, 7.5 shares of the total. So we would divide the total by 7.5.
What's the total?
The total is I just had it up.
632, you said?
I
No,
believe
624.
496 plus 128 is 624. Yep. Divided by 7.5 is 83.2. So we would give them 83.2 times 2.5. Right?
Yeah. 41.6 is each half share.
Yeah.
And we just want to give a shout out here. Thank you, Troll Lord Games, for the shout out or for the raid. Coming in with 71 viewers. Welcome in, everybody.
Hello.
You guys are having a good stream here this morning. We're playing some old school essentials. Running Dolmenwood.
So if we give them their 208 crystals, that leaves us with 16.
Yeah, basically they should get a third and we get 2/3.
That sounds fair. That sounds right. That you guys don't want to necessarily go deal with the rock smoking guy right now,
Not at this point, I think.
right?
Why don't if you want to still get the business component to it, you could, and I could see this as in characters like, well, why don't we give ourselves a name as a brand, and these workers can be our representatives, and so we still get the clout, the recognition, but we don't have to deal with them directly.
I could draw up a little card or something for them to give to him.
What about Fitzpatrick and Fitzpatrick? Mining interest.
Oh, that has a nice ring to it.
Sure.
Mom and Dad always did want us to get into business together,
I love that it's like the business of like selling these crystal meth.
Yeah, right.
You didn't think that
Well, you know,
mushroom drug origin story was gonna escalate and be the gateway drug to this.
they said to lean into your, your skills and what you're good at, brother, and this is certainly what you are good at.
Mm.
Okay, we can handle kind of the math of it off stream, but essentially you're giving them their share, and they're going to divvy that up, and then that takes it out of your hands. That makes sense. That way you don't have to backtrack back this way if to pay out or everything like that. So okay, got the answer to that.
And so our next place we'd be heading after the woodcutters camp would then be to the brother and sister to sell the crystals to them, the remaining share.
Correct.
Cool. Are there other lingering questions that we have to deal with before we fade to black to the rest?
Only question would be, would we stay in the woodcutters camp to heal up?
You would have to for a night. For a number of days. Yeah.
I think so, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I would appreciate some healing.
Okay.
as would I. And a bath.
And a bath. And a good meal.
So, okay, that sounds good. You get a nice full rest here. So 1 hit point back, out on the road, resting. And Sir Geoffrey, you have a dream.
Ooh.
Oh.
And in this dream, you see yourself definitely in a forested area, but you're standing before I guess sort of a mound or a hill, and there's a big kind of rolling stone in front of it. And you watch yourself, you're moving this slab of stone out of the way, and there is an entrance there and stone steps leading down. And in the dream, you watch yourself descending those stairs and going into the darkness. You pull out a torch, and your perception is kind of, you're not like, you're watching yourself do this. And so you watch yourself delving into this old tomb, and it sort of gets sort of glossy for a bit, but as your consciousness, as we refocus on what is happening with Geoffrey, you just see yourself standing over a standing in this vaulted chamber, and there is a coffer with a skeleton in it, and you are removing a ring from the finger of this skeleton. And then you watch yourself, you exit the tomb, and there the elven maiden is like waiting for you. And you get down on bended knee and present the ring to her, and you slip it onto her finger. And there's like maybe a little bit of like a kind of matrimonial kind of feel to it, like a proposal. But then, this all kind of plays out, and you're getting all those same feels that you did back when you first dreamt of this elven maiden. It's celebratory, happy. It feels vivid. It feels real, like it's happening. But then you wake up, and then the disappointment kind of sets in that you aren't actually, like, that isn't actually transpired.
Did I have my sword with me, or a dark steel sword with me?
I'm gonna say yes. You do in that dream have that.
Ooh. Yeah. It's a rough way to wake up, man. I'm probably waking up to the sounds of my brother snoring.
Just loud. Just like just cut a nasty fart too, right? Just right there.
Yeah, right in
Just-
my face, probably
Yeah,
too. You know,
just
like
rancid.
ah.
That stew is coming back.
I'm really. Geoffrey is not happy about where he's at right now. He looks down. His sword isn't there. There's still this mace, this bludgeoning mace there. Elf maiden isn't there. The ring, that beautiful ring that he went to the depths of the earth to get to present to her, as this proposal isn't there, and he's just like, ugh.
So, with that, you're going to start traveling back to the woodcutter's camp along the road. It's going to be uncomplicated. Friar, did you want to do a foraging check today?
Always.
It's
Let's
rough because it's
see.
really warm and steamy today. It's really muggy out.
Ooh. I got a 3. I believe I don't.
So
find
1 or
anything.
2, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. So,
You know what? Is our Moss Dwarf friend traveling with us currently, or is he's
for a few
separate?
hours, for a little bit, he'll have to, come with you to the little stone bridge where the Grimalkin had been previously. Head south, but as soon as you get to the intersection there, he's gonna split and go east. Where there's a sign that says Castle Brackenwold, Prigwort that way, Woodcutter's Camp that way, Fog Lake coming from the north. So, he'll say his goodbyes to you, and he'll again give you that kind of open invitation. If you're ever in Prigwort,
Come look me up, guys. Happy to have you.
and
Most definitely.
kisses the letter.
Wish me luck.
Good luck.
I'll probably, before we part ways with him too, I'll probably
Gonna
chat
need
him
it.
up a little bit about like the herb that he was coming to the
Oh yeah.
cave to get, and just find out some information about that, and because we did come across some weird plant life that we collected there too. So
Yeah. Okay. He'll tell you.
Yeah. My warm spittle, he's looking for a rare plant. It's called blushing mandrake.
have you ever heard?
Well, apparently, what it can do, he has a way of using this to create an alchemical solution that can change one's biological sex characteristics.
So make you a lady a man and a man a lady?
Yeah. Very, very
Permanently?
rare.
The friar would take out his notes that he's collected and kind of ask the description of what it looked like and whatnot.
Yeah, and I can give you that blushing mandrake.
I wonder if the brother-sister pair that we have dealings with were utilizing that.
Oh.
Blushing mandrake is a spindly, 1 foot long, roughly humanoid looking root. Mandrake. It's got kind of a little, pull it out of the ground. It's kind of a little person like thing. And it is said that the blushing mandrake, when you pluck it or pull it out of the ground, it turns from a maybe earthy purple. It'll get bright red. It turns.
Oh.
And that's where it gets its name. If eaten, I'm going to say that he knows all of this about it, and he'll tell you. If you eat it, it is very poisonous. You don't want to just eat it raw. It needs to be properly prepared in order to create that potion. it isn't an instant thing. It's a very slow, kind of painful process. Drinking that potion, and so one has to be, committed. That is their decision that they want to make that change.
And it sounds like his master has somebody that it's intended for, or somebody who's seeking it out.
He probably doesn't know that if there's like a true consumer in mind, or if it's just need to have one of these on the shelves just for that occasion. You getting, from Oblum, you get the sense he's probably a sort of a lackey of the herbalist, but maybe a very trusted one that he was sent out to go and do this. Sounds like it maybe caught, based on what you're reading from the situation, the doppelganger must have gotten enough of a reputation that even out in Pregwort, someone heard there's someone dealing in herbs and such in this cave. So
Does Wormspittle, will he pay top coin for that?
yeah, he'll say that he's got resources, and so if you find it, probably pay you. He's gonna throw out a number and say probably at least 200 gold per root. Well, let me have that. The potion would cost 200. He'll say maybe 100 gold. He'd pay 100 gold for one.
Pretty good.
All right, we'll see. We did the foraging roll, came up negative. Other things that you want to do on the road to Woodcutter's Camp. So as we start to conclude the session, what I'm going to say is we're going to fast track time. I'm going to just say, hey, unless you guys have things that you want to do in the Woodcutter's Camp, but I don't get the sense that that's where interesting things are going to happen. Sounds like the next interesting thing that might happen would be maybe potentially the sale of the crystals to the brother and sister, and then you're going to head to the chateau. So that's where we'll pick it up. We'll pick up the next session. Well, the action will start. You've arrived at the brother and sister. There won't be any complications in terms of wandering encounters or things like that in between. And then I'll just give you an accounting in between, like, here's how much you need to spend on lodging to get to, full health and all of that kind of stuff. And we'll figure that all out off stream. Thank you for the follow there, Josephus77. We appreciate you coming over. If you came over in the raid, again, thank you to Troll Lord Games. We gave them a shout out. Go and follow them. Go get caught up on some Castles and Crusades or any of the different streams of the products that they're showcasing over on that channel. We appreciate the support and the raid. We're all dipping our toes into different tabletop systems right now. So catch a stream, see a game system you're not familiar with, and try something out that maybe is non-5e. So I think that is gonna wrap up the session. Why don't we transition here real quick, just to pay some tribute to one another, do some gratitude before we maybe pass the love on to the next streamer. So why don't we start here? Well, whoever, popcorn it around, whoever wants to start with gratitude.
I'll throw out some gratitude to Ryan with his interaction with the Moss Dwarf, and Winston as well for, I guess, having the conversation, kind of bringing your character to life here. He's kind of just been somebody who stood up front and got knocked down twice, so it's good to really finally meet him. So but it was some good fun RP today.
I'll second that. Yeah, it was fun to learn more about your character, Winston and Ryan. I always love your interactions, and it surprises me how foolhardy your character is. Sometimes it's great. It's awesome.
He's not very bright. Means well. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll throw some gratitude towards the good Friar for just always being like kind of playing, really always playing the character. I just love how you're immediately clued into like the herbs and like just kind of playing that out, and then cooking the good meal and all that. Like it just really adds a lot of like nice texture to the party, which is great. So
Yeah, I think I'm gonna throw my gratitude out to Winston as well. The whole Naglord thing, kind of bringing that in. I think that actually has some potential to be like a very big, like a undercurrent with this whole thing, and that's sort of like the intro. So it's sort of like in the epic movie where you meet the character on the side of the road that like opens up the whole next chapter, you know? So I'm getting those vibes, and I like it.
yeah, I was laughing because Alex had like suggested it as like a direction to go, and I was like, cool. And I want to like start off last session just like Naglord, and then I almost died. I was like, I'm just gonna die, and they're never gonna hear about the Naglord, and then just be like, whatever, let's go back to selling crack rock.
I mean, we're not gonna not sell crack rock.
That's the fuel for the war effort.
It's dirty business fighting the Naglord.
That's right. Find allies where you can.
Awesome.
Between the crystals and the root that we're looking for, man, we're gonna have all the underground drugs going on.
That's right.
Mhm.
And mushrooms. And...
Look at that mushroom.
Oh yeah, I
I'm gonna
forgot about that.
synthesize it.
Hopefully you wrote that down so I know how to reference it when someone inevitably throws it in a pot of stew and
Yeah.
they're
I
trying
just
to
wrote
poison
down
some
green-
NPC.
I wrote down green 1-up mushroom. Is that
Yep.
good enough?
Definitely good enough.
So thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with us here. Thanks players for playing and keeping this going. This is probably one of my favorite of all time. I'm having a lot of fun with this. So those of you in the audience, please do check out our Discord server. We'll put the link there in the Twitch chat. If you're listening to this, just check the description of the channel on whatever service if it's Apple or Google or Spotify. There should be a link in there for the Discord server. Come and check it out. We've got a lot of things going on discussion wise. We've also got a lot of things going on playing wise, and so I would say our community is very accessible. It's very easy to get into games with us. We do run a community campaign that is open to everyone to hop in and join. So join our Discord. That's the best way to kind of get to know us and get the details on all of that. The other thing is if you are listening to this on the podcast and you're enjoying that, that's is sort of an experiment a bit for me to do this. And I will 100% acknowledge this is not a professional kind of thing, right? If this is like episode like 10 or 11 for you at this point, and you've listened, and you can hear we've all got families, we got kids in the background and such. And so we appreciate you coming along on the journey. And, it's a little rough on the audio, but if you are enjoying it, consider supporting the podcast. It costs money to do this, and so your support kind of helps to continue to maintain that. And so, again, check the description wherever you're catching this. There should be a link there for how you can support the podcast side of things for us. So we appreciate that. All right, I think that's going to call it to a close. We got another game here tonight. Like the aforementioned community campaign. Our good friend Gabe here is going to be running a tier 1 game for our 5e folks tonight at 7 p.m. And the other game that we have is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We've got some Dungeon Crawl Classics. We're going to be playing in the Lankmar sandbox, so you can come and check that out as well. With that, let's go and head over. We'll send a raid over to Roll Positive Gaming and see what they're up to. So thanks everybody. We will catch you next time.
Thanks for stopping.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Troll Lord.